Hey, my name is Dr. Nought. This is Steve Jackson's Sorcery Part 4, and today we are in Mampang, and there is no turning back. Alright, so let's jump out here. We got some soldier clothing. Let's go to the yard. You step from the barracks into the main yard. A few clouds scud across the sky. The square is busy with traders and their porters, carting goods from the gate to the high inner wall, where a rack of pulleys and ropes is in constant operation. As expected, there is no door in the wall into the city. Doors are set into the walls on either side of the yard. To the east, rich smells come from a noisy kitchen. To the west are the barracks. We're gonna definitely go to the kitchen. I want some food. You watch the crews on top of the tall wall working the pulleys on top of the wall. That was redundant a little bit. Transferring goods into the city inside. Perhaps there's a way to use them, but you cannot see one. There are scores of people working on every rope and nowhere to hide. Most of the merchants are stopped at the gate, but a few are allowed to drive their carts all the way up to the far wall. Here their goods are unloaded, strapped to ropes, and hoisted over the wall, presumably into the Citadel proper. Gold coins are shuttled back again. It seems remarkably elaborate. You find a merchant waiting for a free rope. He nods a cautious greeting as you come to stand beside him. My papers are in order, just so you know. What are you trading? You ask. Leather, skins, and fibers, the merchant replies. It's a small enough trade, but it serves me well. What are they used for? He shrugs. Shoes and clothes, I suppose. I don't rightly care. Have you ever been inside Mampang? You ask, watching the curious arrangement of pulleys and ropes. Of course I haven't, the merchant replies, looking at you curiously. I'm still here, aren't I? Are you new or something? Just joined the ranks. And I'd learn the ropes quickly if I were you. Then he elbows you in the side and points at the pulley. Get it? Learning the ropes? You nod to the merchant and move away across the yard. No one pays you any attention. Clearly your disguise is good enough to serve. Alright, off to the kitchens. Opening the door a crack, you see a riot of activity and heat. Goblins rush between fires and low tables, carrying heaps of food and pots of water. An enormous hobgoblin stands at the front of the room, shouting orders and waving a cleaver above his head. There might be some useful information to be overheard here. You swing open the door, trying to look like you belong. No one pays you any attention. The large hobgoblin burps as he stirs the soup. You stroll right up to the hobgoblin by the stove. The head chef. The head chef looks up to glare at you. You see the kitchen goblin's pause, waiting with bated breath. Most have cleavers or knives of some kind. You are quite considerably outnumbered. No one crawls in here without my permission, the head chief declares from the stove. So tell me fast, why shouldn't I put you in the soup? The hobgoblin squints. Oh, I said the people outside need food. Apparently that didn't register here. And what did you think I was doing before you interrupted me? Cooking, you acknowledge. Exactly, he replies. He suddenly leans in, fingering his cleaver. But now you're here, you might as well help. You're a chef now, understand? He points with the cleaver across the room to where a hobgobliness is chopping furiously. Go see Filk, he says, picking up a head of lettuce. She'll get you started. With that, he turns away. Did I just get employed? What just happened? I don't know, if I can just eat a little piece of lettuce or something so I can sleep tonight and actually get some stamina back, that would be nice. You make your way around to the counter where the goblin... Nope. You make your way around to the counter to where the Nope. Oh my god. To where the hobgoblin pointed out is trying to lift a bag of potatoes that is almost her size. She collapses under the weight, but scrambles out from under the bag when she sees you. This is something. She is gigantic for a goblin, but still a head shorter than you. Her apron is mostly stains, dirt, and a few threadbare ruffles. Reach down a hand and pull her up. Filk, she announces, and you realize with a sickening feeling that she is vainly trying to tidy the thick mound of greasy hair on her head as she speaks. Do you need a hand, you ask, with the sack? She smiles weakly, and with everything else around here, she is visibly nervous. I'm to show you the kitchen and teach you the rules. What rules? She nods. First, never annoy the head chef. Second, don't drop anything. Third, don't go in the larder. The hobgoblin cook is very paranoid about that. He's convinced there are spies everywhere trying to steal his recipes. Frankly, I'm surprised he didn't skin you the moment you walked in. She blushes at some unknown thought. Spies, you ask with some interest? Oh, I don't think they're real. Who would steal old Thunderbowl's recipes? He doesn't even use spices. And they say there is someone sneaking into the fortress, but he's not here for the food, I'm sure. Hulk looks at you sideways, and then reaches out a tentative hand to touch yours. You stay still, and her cold, greasy goblin flesh settles on your arm. I'm so glad you're here, she says, suddenly talking in a rush. And we need to get this soup made, yes. We feed all the guards in the yard, so we're always busy. You chop these vegetables and get it simmering. I need to go grab some roach pig meat. She turns to go. I'll be right back. You can start the cooking, can't you? Of course. Good, Philip says with a nod. It'll be nice to have an expert pair of hands around here. She leaves you to your task. Before you is a chopping board heaped with vegetables, onions, turnips, potatoes, and a few purple orbs you don't recognize. You will need a knife. I could escape or I could go spy, but let's just keep doing this and see what happens. You go over to the knife rack and pull out a blade. Two goblins across the kitchen are talking in low voices. Archmage, one remarks. It's a bit of wood the guards prop against the tower window. The other goblin laughs. You test the edge. It is so dull you doubt it would cut butter. If it's a bit of wood, the second goblin whispers, how do you explain the birdmen? They're not natural. There is a whetstone on the counter. You drag the knife blade back and forth a few times until it is keen. Then you head back over to the counter. Philk steals a quick glance and flashes a crooked smile. You examine the vegetables. Several are rotten. I'm told the birdmen are breeding, a third goblin hisses at the first two. I heard they have a nest. You smoothly and efficiently dice the vegetables with your sharp knife. Philk walks past, carrying a tray of overbaked breads. Stick them in a pot. They look excellent. She offers a quick, nervous smile, and is gone on another errand across the room. See, I realize some of them were rotten, but if we feed the guards and they all become sick, maybe we can sneak by. Next, you head over to the rack, where a random assortment of pots and pans hang from nasty-looking hooks. Most are dented or cracked, some have holes rusted in the bottom. Don't be stupid, the first goblin whispering nearby hisses. Birdmen can't lay eggs. Think how big they'd be. We'd be using them to make our omelets, wouldn't we? All three snigger at the thought. Under a pile of lids without handles, you spot a gleaming new pot. You reach for it, but a goblin with an eye patch shoves it in front of you. Hands off, he growls. You ask very nicely for the pot, but it's hard to appeal to this goblin's better nature, as he clearly doesn't have one. He laughs in your face. Alright, let's not start any trouble. Resigned, you look elsewhere on the rack. The group of goblins are still muttering. You should pop through the tunnel and find out, the third goblin says. Oh, except there's no tunnel in the larder, of course. That rumor is totally false. You grab a pot caked with rust. Large reddish flakes sit on the bottom. Perhaps they will add some flavor. Ugh. It's gross. You heft up your pot and head over to the stove. Yeah, see, the longer we work, the more we got a clue here. There's a tunnel through the larder. That's important. Returning back to the stove, you fill the pot with your finely chopped vegetables. You add the cleanest water you can find, which isn't very clean, and place it over the fire. If the birdmen are breeding, does that mean they might rebel? A fourth goblin asks from a nearby group nervously. The Archmage can't control creatures he doesn't make. You stir carefully, allowing yourself to relax for a moment as you take in the aroma. It is an oddly calming moment. But then your reverie is broken by Philk returning and dumping roach pig meat into the mix. Hot water splashes up. She looks disappointed. Well, it's soup, I suppose, she says. We should add some flavor. The spices are over there. She hurries away once more. Over where? Oh, way over there? Alright, let's keep going. Our clue says probably that there is a tunnel inside the larder, yes. In the outer yards into Inner Mampang from the larder. So I have to say, we are at the point where we can't turn back, right? So if we die, we're dead for good. The spices are kept in boxes at the back of the room. All the herbs are from Zaman. You don't recognize a single one. 3 labels stand out. Ant powder, melted curios, and red-eye tears. Oh yeah, wait. No, we want the one that's probably hot. I bet you that's what that is. Red-eye tears, really? Inside the jar is a fizzing bright red liquid. The drop on your tongue burns a little, but pleasantly. You grab your jar, hoping that what's inside is edible. And we're gonna dump the whole thing in. You take your jar back to Filk. She squints at the label, then smiles. That's such an interesting choice, she breathes. You pour some into the pot and Filk watches. The soup bubbles and churns. First whispering goblin shrugs. The Archmage is just a bit of wood in the window, he remarks. I think the birdmen are in charge of this place anyway. You lift a spoonful and take a taste. It is surprisingly palatable. I'm not spitting. You stir the broth. Excellent smells rise up from its surface. At Filk's insistence, the hobgoblin comes over to sniff the pot. Not bad, he grumbles. What's in it? Roach pig. The hobgoblin nods. Good. I'm glad someone around here cares about cooking. No one here appreciates good ingredients like me. I am Throg, the most careful chef in Mampang. Throg takes a spoon and sips carefully. Then he beams with pleasure. Delightful, he roars. Gather round, you lumps. He gives you a clap on the shoulder that is only a little less painful than his blows of anger. This is the chef. He's gonna go places, you hear? You try to look suitably humble. Someone takes this to the mess hall, Throg shrieks. And you get access to the good ingredients, he winks. Go check the larder. It's full of real meat. Try not to think about what he means by real meat. You head towards the larder. This is our way to escape. Look at that. The door is already open for us. Let's go. You open the door and slip into the larder. It is stocked with food that looks actually edible, unlike most of what is piled in the kitchen. But there doesn't seem to be much more to it, except that you were told that somewhere in here is a secret passage into the heart of the fortress! Exclamation point. The door opens behind you and Filk slips in somewhat breathlessly. I thought I could help, she blushes. Unlikely, you reply. Let me try, she replies, stepping a little closer. This affair has gone far enough, you reply. Go back to your work. You don't mean that, Filk replies, her eyes beginning to brim with tears. Don't say that. You're the first person who's been nice to me for as long as I can remember. Besides, and she smiles shyly, you look wonderful in that uniform. Please, Filk, I'm bad for you. I knew it, she murmurs. You're just trying to protect me. But you can't protect me by leaving me here. This place, you have to get me out of here. Go away now, you reply firmly. For a long moment, Filk stares at you. You see 100 fragile dreams shattering in her eyes, one by one by one. My mother always told me humans were cold, she murmurs, but I thought I could prove her wrong. With that, she turns on a heel and hurries away. Wait, so this thing in the floor here is not the, tunnel? You bend down to squint at the floor. Some flour dust has been spilled here. The spilled flour has indeed picked up a strange pattern on the floor, as if someone had tried to scuff away footprints near one particular floorboard. Oh yeah, take some rations. You quickly gather a good number of loaves of bread and blocks of cheese, along with a few more obscure items. This should hopefully keep you stocked for the rest of your journey. But somehow you cannot feel good about your find. Inspecting carefully, you notice a thin seam running across some floorboards. A less clever observer would never have noticed. You pick up a nearby fork and pry at the seam. A section of floor pops up on disguised hinges. A trap door. Let's just get out of here. You could turn back or descend below. Let's go before we get captured or something. You climb downwards into the tunnel, squinting in the dim light. It's narrow, but there doesn't seem to be anyone in it. What I'm gonna actually do too is eat something. There we go. That's good enough. That means when we rest tonight, we'll gain some more stamina, I believe. You slither and slide your way down into the darkness of the tunnel. It is unclear who built this. There are no supports or indications of construction. There seem to be tooth marks in the walls. You splash on through the shallow water. The rock walls drip with dank moss, and the smell is stale and fetid. There's no way to tell how much more of this there is to go. Well, we're like going off the map here. Wink. You splash onwards. The tunnel turns a corner here, rising upwards towards a chink of light. Perfect. You climb upwards, using the rough edge of the tunnel as footholds to ascend. There is a fresh scent from somewhere overhead. After some more clambering, you come within sight of a grate in the ceiling. Light filters through, and standing right on top of it are a pair of feet. Huh. You wait a few seconds and are rewarded as the guards above begin to chatter. Keep your eyes open, a gruff voice murmurs. They say he's on his way. Who? You know who. I'm not worried, the second guard replies. No assassin can kill the archmage, however clever they are. The grate looks fixed into the stone. It is not hinged or designed to be opened, but presumably just to let this tunnel vent steam. You push on through the tunnel further underneath Mampang. Yeah, I'm not gonna get their attention or anything like that. One thing I want to do is see if we can switch clothes. Yeah, so you quickly remove and discard the guard's uniform. We know that guards cannot get on the inside of the wall, so I feel like we have to take that off. Alright. You reach the end of the tunnel. A short flight of slick stone steps leads up to a trapdoor in the ceiling. The trapdoor is set neatly into the rocky ceiling and is closed tight. It looks as though it hasn't been opened in a very long time. You scramble quickly upwards, keen to get out of the tunnel as quickly as possible. The trapdoor, when you reach it, is so firmly locked it does not even shiver when you shove at it. Alright, we should have one that opens up doors. Let's see how it goes. Is it the one that starts with a D? Yeah. Looking to the stars, you craft the magic, but nothing happens. The trapdoor does not even shake. Perhaps it is protected by some magical defense, or else it is not a door at all. What? Alright, what else do we have? Y-O-B? Nope. Y-A-P? Nope. Z-O-B. Unknown. You try to bind the enchantment, but you are missing an item that it needs, and so the spell dissipates. Okay. Didn't cost any stamina, so we're okay. What's the other Z thing? Z-A-P, no. Was that the only Z-O one, though? Yeah, okay. H-O-W. Let's try this. You bind the starlight into shape around you, and a familiar, calm voice begins to speak to you. There is no way out here, the voice informs you. This way is sealed a long time ago by a spell of petrification. Its message delivered, the spell fades. Ah. There is no way up from the tunnel, it seems. You turn back, hopelessly, towards the thin light from the grate. Interesting. Now we have to do this. You find a chunk of stone and toss it up against the grate. The guards stop talking immediately, and you see the feet move this way and that. What was that? One hisses. It sounds like it came from, the second replies, tailing off, and the feet step clear of the grate. You wait to see what will happen. A moment later, an eye appears at the grate. It blinks twice, trying to focus. By Gred, the eye's owner declares a moment. There's a man down there. Greetings. Greetings, replies the guard uncertainly. What are you doing down there? I'm lost. You certainly are. That's a sewer. Oh shoot, I don't have my guard outfit. Wait. Do I have it still? I don't. Uh-oh. I was not expecting this. Nope, not what I wanted to do. Can you help me out? No, these grates don't open, never have. Just keep going along, the other guard remarks. You'll find your way out somewhere. Good luck, the first finishes. Let's see if we can open this. Cause clumsiness to these guys. I think we're gonna have to, if we open this thing. Let's see. You weave the enchantment and the grate flips open. The guards yelp. How did you do that? One demands. These grates don't open. Haven't opened in years. Sorcery, moans the other. You don't think it's the Analander, the first hisses. The first hisses? Could be. We'd better tell the captain. You hear their feet pounding away. More light filters down from above now that the guards have gone and the grate is open. Damn it, I should have cast them like to dumb or something before doing that. You jump to try and grab the overhead grate, but you cannot reach it. Oh my gosh, okay. We have to Leviosa ourselves up here. And that would be what? Nope. Nope. Great glue? What? Sphere. Illusion of worship. Huh. Is it this one? One of these, right? I'm not. Yeah. Wait, in the. Which one levitates me? Oh, it's Zen. That's right. Consulting the constellations above, you bind the spell and the medallion begins to glow as you rise gently up into the air. You float up and out through the open grate. Let's get out of here. You settle to the dirt of Mampang and kick the grate shut behind you. You're in a narrow alley between two large buildings. At the far end you can see a glimpse of some kind of plaza. You are into the middle part of the day, and yet the Citadel is still cold. You slip your way forwards. I can only go this way. Okay, so I have no choice. There's barely enough space to walk between the two buildings, which list inwards on both sides. The buildings on both sides are topped by large glass domes, the one on the right larger than that on the left. You sidle onwards down the alleyway. The alley widens out a little here, as it approaches the square at the end. You are inside the city. Looking around, you are surprised to find that this part of Mampang is more like a city than you expected. There are merchants, laborers, and swaggering guards. Washing hangs from hooks outside the stacked houses. Of course, there are far more wicked glares and knives stuck into belts than even in Kari. Suddenly, you feel hooked fingers catch your arm. You turn around and catch a glimpse of a hoary old beggar pulling at you. But then something happens and you lose sight of him. A moment later, the tall buildings of Mampang that you traveled so far to reach have disappeared. Oh. You stand in a humid climate. Tall plants lean down on all sides, and a thin, watery sunlight leaks through some kind of glass ceiling choked with weeds. You look around startled. The beggar is still here, but no longer holding your arm. He stands taller and seems better fed. That's better, he declares. Now we can talk more freely. Where are we? This is a favorite little spot of mine, a forgotten corner of Kari, the lost gardens of Briar. Even the gardeners who work here can't remember the way in. It's on all the maps, but no one can find the entrance. My own little fortress. He reaches rather tenderly for a nearby plant and pulls off a graying leaf. This place is hidden from the Archmage, you observe. Quite so, the old man replies. The Archmage would chew a death sponge mushroom and then eat my brains if he had the chance. Best for us all if that doesn't happen. The old man smiles. Come, let's walk a little, shall we? He begins to saunter between the trees and you follow. Who are you? My name is Throbin. The beggar bows most politely. You notice he wears a circlet of finger bones on his head. Some have called me necromancer, but they only mean that death has never stopped my work. Greetings. He bows again. What have you done? Moved us elsewhere, Throbin replies, so we can talk. Throbin points at a nearby flower. You see this one? Purple thornweed. Only grows in one place. The slopes above my home village. Where's that? I grew up in the same village as the Archmage, you know. A small place called Kariyama. Maybe you've heard of it. He sweeps away, his face hidden from view. This way now. He steps between two plants and disappears. You push your way between the plants and find the beggar waiting. Only now he is no beggar, but a tall, handsome man wearing a long cloak embroidered with runes of power. There you are, he booms. I was told to expect you. Where's the old man? Safely in my future, he replies with a smile. Please excuse any confusion. I use these gardens for conversations quite extensively, but I have to space them out. One cannot have things overlapping. Now then, he smiles. I believe will be, talking about Mampang and your impending death. I'm not going to die. You most certainly are, he replies. Often. I shouldn't wonder. He points up. The dome is gone, and it is now nighttime. Stars shine overhead. I like these gardens for one reason above all. Can you see what it is? The constellations? Exactly. He sighs with evident pleasure. Look up there, he declares, pointing. This is one of only 2 places in Kari where the stars of the Zed spell can be seen. The other is by the North Gate, but that spot's rather too busy. What do you know of that spell? You mentioned the mention of Zed makes you stop short. Secret magic. The most powerful knowledge, unknown to all. What do you know of that spell, you demand? Zed, he intones, is the great discovery of the necromancers. A spell powered by and fascinated by death. Some thought it prevented death, but it does not. Quite the opposite. The stars of Zed cause a death of the most significant final kind. Tell me how it works. The man nods. It is a spell of such power and significance. Its secret must never be divulged. I have told you enough in this place. Please. He gestures at another path, leading between trees as wide as bears, that have fallen together to form an arch. After you. You slip under the arch and arrive in a field of bright yellow and purple flowers, terrifically overgrown. Brambles choke the edges of the path. The man does not follow. You call out, but hear no response. It seems you are quite alone. High above, you see 2 harpies flying past, screaming to each other and pointing, but they are not coming for you. You search the bushes, but find nothing. There's nothing hiding here, or there, nothing waiting for you. The beggar has abandoned you. It seems you must find the path back to Mampang yourself. You push forwards through the towering flowers into an area of cracked blue paving and fronded shrubs in glass pots. To your relief, the beggar is here once more. He looks older than ever. Now you understand, he hisses. Now you see why you have to die. What? I do not understand you. I'll tell you all you need to know, he says. The Zed spell is difficult to cast, you see, because you can't cast it at once. You have to cast it at 2 separate times. 2 times, but 1 casting. Got it? Like left and right hands, clasped together. He demonstrates linking thumbs and flapping his fingers like a butterfly. Go on. So you cast it then and before, and when both castings are cast, they are the same casting. 2 castings at different times cannot be at different times, so the time between disappears. He squashes his butterfly fingers into a single 2-handed fist. The time collapses? Beautifully put, he replies. The beggar spits a tooth, then picks it up to admire. Be valuable, that, one of these days, he remarks. What? You reach down for it. Uncouth villain, he curses, batting your hand away. Now we'd best be getting on. We don't want you coming back here when you finally die. Coming back? Exactly. Robin closes his dirt-smudged eyes and concentrates. and slowly the walls of Mampang return. Okay, not sure what happens. I'm not sure what happened there, but all I know is we probably have to cast the Zed spell. There you are again, smiles the beggar, who is now back as he began. He lifts a crooked finger. Not a word. There are spies everywhere. One last thing to do. Draw your sword. You obediently draw your blade. Robin beams with glee, and then before you can stop him, he runs himself deep onto the blade. For the ghosts of the Backlands, I curse you with this, he whispers, and there is a fury in his eyes. In the last moments, you see him hurl up his arms, creating some kind of incantation. A terrible force builds around his body, but then seems to only half explode. You are caught at the moment of detonation. What? The explosion dies away, its force curiously unspent, as though waiting. But you feel stronger for it. Okay. I have full stamina now, so that's good. You look around, still disoriented. Wait. Disorientated. There is no sign of the beggar. The narrow alley mouth opens onto the square. The sun is almost set, and the sky has turned a deep purple. Soon it will be dark once more. Well, that was odd. I appreciate the outcome, though, for sure. And next time, we will continue through this and look at the city of Mampang, and of course, try to find our way up there. But we're going to explore as much as possible to get as well prepared so that when we go up to the final battle, we can Zed our way through this and die, which seems about right. But that's okay. I don't care if we die to complete the story, I just don't want to die before then. Alright, so next time, I will see you then. Take care. Goodbye.